welcome to my first impressions review of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, why is it a first impression review? Because I did not get to complete the game. So this is just the first impressions with a little bit more in-depth breakdown. So pretty much Dragon Ball FighterZ on the PS4 at Xbox One is a 1080p 60 frames per second fighter. It's a 2.5D fighter, which means it's a 2D fighter, but with a little bit of 3D dynamics when you do animations and things of that nature. We don't need to get into too much details here. The bottom line is, should you buy it? So let's get into the full breakdown of everything and what's going on now with the game. Okay, so graphically, the game is amazing. I can't say anything bad about it. Graphically, the Xbox One X version is around 1800p and the PS4 Pro version is around 1620p. Of course, this is way of Digital Foundry that I found out that information. I could not see a difference for myself between the PlayStation and the Xbox version, so I think that's going to be up to the diehard people who are counting grass and foliage and things of that nature to actually look for a difference here. I couldn't find one. Now, with that being said, the game just looks amazing. The fact that it has a 4K option, it's running at 60 frames, good enough for me. All right, so with that being said, graphically, if you're a fan of watching how the Dragon Ball Fighter games evolve over the times, this is definitely a new step in that direction as far as evolution is concerned. And honestly, yeah, it's like one of those things where you like to see how much prettier can this game get, and they just keep going and going and going, and you get to the point where you're like, wow, this looks amazing. Like, so that's the situation. This is another step, another notch in the belt for the graphics. The graphics will not disappoint you. The game looks truly amazing. So with that being said, move on to controller. Now, of course, the fight controller uses the ARC system. Now, there's a lot of complaints about the controller setup. People are calling the game casual because of this. Me personally, I feel like that's definitely a fact. You can literally press a couple of buttons repeatedly and do 30 hit combos. So there's definitely an issue with that. And my personal opinion, the way that they handle something like this is they should turn this thing off. If like Marvel vs. Capcom, you can use the combos or you cannot. Of course, this game is getting more ridicule for that than I think it deserves, because a lot of fighting games are doing this. Marvel vs. Capcom literally has the same feature that this game has, except I know for a fact in Marvel vs. Capcom, you get punished by having lower damage output by using the easy combo. So I'm assuming that Dragon Ball FighterZ may use the same pattern because it's doing the same thing. Of course, you can tell when somebody's doing these combos because at the end of the combo, when it's done, it's going to say dynamic. Now, also, there's something funny about these combos real quick that I want to say. You can like literally get to the last hit in the combo and then string another button along just to, you know, not make it look like you used an auto combo. So there's going to be a lot of arguments going down the line about how casual the game is. Definitely, they made it casual and friendly for anybody to pick up a fighter and, you know, get into it. So in my personal opinion, if you're somebody that's feeling intimidated, you don't want to spend hours learning combos, you can get on this game and actually give somebody a run for their money. But that doesn't mean that somebody who's playing this game seriously and taking it serious is going to get mopped up by you. That's just not going to be the case, of course. Practice makes perfect. So with that being said, in my personal opinion, the game is very casual, but that makes it cool with me because I just want to have fun sometimes. I don't want to be sitting up there learning the timing of a move just for them to do an update and change this and change that, and now I'm back there learning the same moves over. So the game is casual friendly, but it's still good, and it's still not to be taken as a joke because some people think that because of the auto combos, the game is easy. It's definitely not something easy. Somebody knows what they're doing. You can auto combo all you want. You're gonna get beat up, okay? So that's the bottom line with that. So moving on. Overall, there's a couple of modes in the game, but when you initially buy the game, you're gonna be buying something called the Day 1 Edition, and it's gonna give you Super Saiyan God Goku and Super Saiyan God Vegeta, totaling the starting roster of characters you will have to 23. Normally it would be 21, but once you enter that DLC code, you will be given those 2 extra versions of Goku and Vegeta, making a total roster of 23. Now, of course, there's DLC characters, but I'm not gonna get into all that in this video. For now, I'm just gonna focus on the core game. So with that being said, that's what you get. As far as content is concerned, I feel like you do get a good amount of content. 23 characters, a couple of stages, a couple of modes. You have the arcade mode, you have the story mode, and then you have the battle mode. Now, the way it's set up is you walk into a lobby, the game connects to the internet, and when you connect to the internet, you go into a world, as you can see in the background, where you have to travel to whatever mode you would like. Arcade mode to the right, story mode to the left, battle to the top, and then you have practice in like the very, very low bottom left corner. Now, let's get into the story real quick because people are going to want to know these things. I'm not going to spoil the story. However, I'm going to break down what it is you get. You pretty much get 3 arcs that will last you anywhere between 2 to 3 hours a piece, depending on how you play. The total story campaign should run you about anywhere from, I'd say, about 8 hours to 12 hours, depending on how you run through the cutscenes, because I feel like I played enough of it to let you guys know that I think this game is a buy, in my opinion. Now, why do I think it's a buy? Because it's pretty much Dragon Ball Z. It's Dragon Ball universe. It's everything about the game. Now, let's talk about the story real fast. The writing in the story takes a while for it to pick up. The first arc in the story takes a long time, and after about 2 or 3 hours, you will find yourself getting a little bored with the story. you will find yourself wanting to skip a lot of parts because some parts of the story are generic and they repeat themselves. So you'll find yourself wanting to skip that. But as you get more into the story, it starts to explain itself, unfold, and then you feel like you're in the Dragon Ball Z universe, because the beginning of the story feels like whoever wrote that was like fantasizing a little too much. So with that being said, after about 2 hours, you start getting into the feel of this being a Dragon Ball game. Now, the way that they incorporate you as the player is pretty interesting, but it's a little bit more on the childish side, and I get that because this is supposed to be a kid-friendly version of Dragon Ball FighterZ. I get it, but it was a little bit too kiddie for me at times, and I just found myself saying, hey, let me just get to the fighting because I'm starting to feel like I'm watching a Disney movie. So the story is definitely for the kids. If you're worried about this game being kid-friendly or anything like that, go ahead, let your nephew, your niece, your son, your daughter go ahead and beat somebody's butt online. It's perfectly fine. The game is more Dragon Ball Super, which is making it more kid-friendly, versus Dragon Ball Z, where people are actually starting to die and people are getting holes punched them and things of that nature. Everything is kid-friendly here. So, you know, you do have the beat 'em up theme, and that's about it. So with that being said, the story is lacking quite a bit, but it's actually intriguing and interesting. Plus, like I said, if you watch all of the cutscenes and you do everything that you're supposed to do in the game, I'm being told that it's reporting to run from anywhere from 9 to 12 hours. Now, somebody like me, I'm halfway through with the game already, so it's not gonna last me that long. It's gonna last me about 6 hours. So just keep that in mind. 3 arcs, 9 chapters apiece, 27 chapters to beat. You may not see all 27 chapters because as you play through the story, there are certain events and choices you have to make, and based off those choices you make, you actually encounter more fights or less fights. And if you encounter less or more fights, you encounter less or more cutscenes, ultimately changing the way that you may end the game, giving the story a lot of replay value. Keep in mind, this is not a one-off. If you beat the story, there are tons of reasons to replay the story. Now, just to let you guys know without spoiling it, the arc is 3 different perspectives of the same story. So don't think that when you go to one arc and go to the next arc, you're getting a new story. You get in the same story, but just from a different character's perspective. Now, I won't spoil the story and anything about that. I'm just going to let you guys know that this is the situation of what's going on. Now, if you just want some straight beat 'em up with a little bit of NPC involvement, you can go to arcade mode. Now, they encourage you to play the arcade mode and get S ranks to unlock things. I won't get any further more into that. And then you have, of course, the netcode for the game, which this is actually the ultimate problem for Dragon Ball FighterZ. The online is amazing when it works, but it doesn't work all the time, and it's quite a bit annoying because currently right now they have the network settings locked for me, so I can't go online to check to see if the retail version of this game is actually working. But if you're somebody that came to this video, don't worry about it. Come back tomorrow or when the game is actually out, and I'll be running some live streams playing it, checking it out, having a little fun. If you're a subscriber or somebody that's watching and want to play with me, of course, leave a comment below and, you know, we'll hop in a lobby together, something like that. You know, it is what it is. But in my personal opinion, man, as a fan of Dragon Ball for a long time, I started with Dragon Ball Z and I went from there. The original Dragon Ball I didn't like. When Goku was a kid, I didn't like it at all. But Dragon Ball Z and on, I enjoyed Dragon Ball as a fan. So with that being said, as far as the game, it lives up to the series just equally as much, if not better, because I actually get to play with these characters in 4K 60. So with that being said, man, there's nothing else I could tell you. Go on ahead and get it, man. You got the pre-order button ready. You got the download button ready. You getting ready to go to the store for a minute, like release or something like that. Go ahead, man. Knock yourself out. Have a ball. You deserve it. Anyway, once again, 23 character roster, 12-hour campaign. Great online when it works. I don't see a reason not to get the game. Now, if you guys are worried about that netcode, I suggest you do wait till people who have it and it unlocks at 12 o'clock and people are playing for you to go check and see if that netcode is working right. Because as of right now, of making this video, that is the only questionable thing about the game. As far as the content and the amount of content, I think it's worth $60 in American dollars, of course. With that being said, it's your boy Jimmybgaming. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm out of here. Peace. And please, if you liked or enjoyed the video, hit the like button. Even if you can't see the like button, hit the like. I don't care what you got it. Alright? But let me know what you think in the comments. If you got it, what platform you got it for, what's your favorite character. Let's talk. Peace.